Hey, welcome back to the W. This is the YWCA Hour from YWCA Lincoln. I am Karen Bell Dancy, Executive Director of YWCA Lincoln, and my co host.
Maisha here, the Associate Director of YWCA Lincoln. We are so excited to be back with you all today to have a conversation about effective and correct communication in regards to a lot of um, the information that we're receiving around politics here in our nation and in our city and in our community. And Karen, can you tell them where you are currently?
Right, so this is why my background does not look as robust as it normally does. I am not in the studio in Lincoln with Maisha. I'm actually here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And that's because I am attending the YWCA USA leadership conference. So I've been here since Tuesday, earlier this week, and we have been involved in a series of very productive and informative meetings. And as Maisha said, one of the main things that we're talking about are the executive orders that have been coming out of the federal administration, as well as a lot of the different communications and the implications about us as nonprofits, how we continue to work with our mission impact, and how we continue to support our communities.
Yeah, I know it's hard enough to kind of wade through the information that is being handed down through these, whether it's executive orders or departments being closed down, and all the information in regards to what's misinformation and what is
Yes.
actual viable information. And so I know that we have the responsibility to figure out, what is actually going on. But it becomes 10 times harder when misinformation is mixed up into it. And so
Oh,
I
yes,
know,
definitely.
yeah, and really trying to figure out, well, how do we move forward? How do we continue to provide these resources that we know our community needs? Because just because something shut down, like a department, right? Just
Right.
because an executive order was passed doesn't mean that the needs are not still the same. They didn't come because there was this overwhelming need from the community or response from the community that it wasn't a necessary resource. That's not why this is happening, because they did the data and ran the research and looked at the
Right.
data and conducted research and said, oh, this is not needed anymore. That's not
Yeah.
what's happening. And so there is a void that is being created in regards to resources, and we still have to provide them, right? We still have to find a way to make it less impactful for our community members that we serve.
Yes.
And
Our
so,
goal, yeah, and most definitely, Maisha, our goal is to stay seamless
mhm,
in all the resources and the services and the programs we provide. At YWCA Lincoln, we serve well over 1,000 community members, and that includes women, men, youth. We have a very robust youth program. Just tomorrow, we'll be doing financial literacy that helps to create economic wellness for families. And, we just have a whole plethora of programs at any point in time, between 9, 10 different programs. And because our impact is so huge, and all of those of our colleagues that are in this nonprofit arena, we want to make sure that the community understands we are still here to serve, we are still here to support, and we want to help the community to wade through a lot of misinformation, miscommunication. What resources do we consider to be credible, and all those kinds of things, so there is no disruption in service.
right. And I know, as you said, you're there with other executive directors from around the country,
Yeah.
and you all push this meeting up. Typically we don't have this meeting this early
Yes.
in the year. It's a little bit later, but because of all of the new, again, executive orders and policies coming out of this administration, in particular, in regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And
Exactly.
if you're a listener here, and you know about our organization, our mission is to eliminate racism and empower women. And we kind of live in that intersectionality. And a part of that is, promoting equity and inclusion, right? So that our
Hmm.
spaces, we are providing spaces where all feel like they belong, right?
Hmm.
And so we know that right now that's one of those buzzwords, right? Three
Right.
buzzwords: diversity,
Yeah.
equity, and inclusion. And right now, it's being attacked. If I can just say it plainly as
Yes,
possible,
it
it is being
is.
attacked. In any organization that has equity, inclusion, diversity in any part of their policy, they feel the heat, right? They feel the heat
Exactly.
because they know that there's a possibility that they won't have funding in federal dollars, right? And a
Right.
lot of nonprofits, they depend on that to
Yes,
provide services to the community and to our clients. And so we really feel that as an organization because it's in our mission. It's literally, it's in
that
our
is our
logo.
mission.
It is our mission. You cannot eliminate it. We cannot say, oh, we're renaming the organization or
Right.
rebranding it. We won't say eliminate racism and empower women. That's
Yeah,
just who we are. We've been that here in this community for like 138 years, almost what
true.
170 nationally.
That's
And
true.
so
Yes.
we have been living out our mission for a very long time, and we live out our mission until it's not needed anymore, right?
Right.
Until we are
Yeah.
not needed in regards to providing services for women to ensure equity, and then for those of color to ensure equity. Once it's no longer needed, then we talk about changing. But we
Right.
know in this time, it is
And we
definitely
can't do it without legality. So that's the other
right.
thing too. We
Yeah.
have a constitution, we have bylaws, and we have to abide by that.
Exactly. And then you have to, as a body, which we know that should be the model for a lot of different bodies, right, and
Yes.
institutions, that there's protocol for how you eliminate something, right, and how you
That's
get
true.
rid of something, and it's not just one person saying, "Hey, I don't want it anymore," and
Right.
so
And that applies to everyone,
and that
correct?
applies to everyone that there are certain protocols. There is a certain protocol that you have to follow, laws and bylaws that you have to follow in order to change it. But we don't want to change it because
We don't.
the
Yes.
mission still applies.
The mission still applies,
Yeah.
and it will always apply as long as there is a need and as long as inequities exist. And we know there are inequities, there are disparities when it comes to housing, when it comes to workforce, when it comes to pay equity, when it comes to Medicaid, Medicare, all those kinds of things. Those are all impacts. And they don't just impact a certain group. And I
Hmm.
think that's a lot of the misnomer. A lot of the misunderstanding is that some of the executive orders that are coming forward will only impact a certain group. And it was really, in our estimated, targeted toward people of color.
Yes,
And that has proven to not be true in a very short time. The
it
effect is
very.
widespread.
You said a very, very short time, and it is coming
Exactly.
so fast and quickly that
Hmm.
even the protections that are put into place, it they can't keep up the protections
That's right. Yes.
because it's coming so fast.
So,
Uh, and we're seeing it play out nationally, right? In regards
hmm,
to the balance of powers,
yes.
and so we're seeing this struggle in this kind of like tug of war between the judicial branch and the executive branch at this point,
Yes.
in
Yes.
regards to some of these policies that are being put in place or dismantled, that
Hmm.
were there to protect human rights. And so
Yes.
we really see it play out, and I think a lot of people are seeing, those who thought, because we talked about identity politics, right, and how we have
Exactly.
done a great job, and I say great with great job in
Right.
regard to connecting politics to identity. And so when you hear a
Hmm.
certain buzzword, you see a certain person, right?
Yes.
So when you hear diversity, equity, inclusion, who do you see? You see people of color. and that's all you see, right? Black people or people, you just see people of color.
Right,
That's what you see, right? And maybe the LGBTQIA community. That's who you see. You don't
yes,
see all the other people that diversity, equity, and inclusion
right,
uh, connects to and impact and uplifts. And so now we're seeing it, right? When
yes,
they when it's going away. We're talking about, different abilities, right? How it's being
yes,
impacted. We're talking about education and how that's being impacted with diversity, equity, there, attacks on diversity,
right,
equity, inclusion. So
yes,
what kids can and cannot learn, throughout the public school system. You're seeing it travel into so many sectors because you thought because they did such a great job of,
right.
of painting a picture of who
Mhm.
diversity and equity is and not what diversity, equity, and inclusion is. And
And
so you
the
play
way they try to justify it, it just amazes me that, oh, this is putting more money back into the government. It's eliminate useless spending and all of that. But how do you justify useless spending when you have the Department of Education that supports kids and kids that need additional supports and
Mhm.
resources and
Yeah.
those kinds of things? When you
Mhm.
have families that need those additional monies to help feed their family monthly.
Mhm.
You have Social Security. You have all of that. It's just so amazing to me because that means on the back end now we're creating a more system, bigger system of folks that have even more need. It just was
Yeah.
not a well thought out plan at all. And, as we said, it happened so quickly
Mhm.
that there was barely much time to react. We didn't have a lot of time to react around the what I call the attack on nonprofits. And we're not the only nonprofit. We are a federated structure, and so that means that we have a corporate structure. We're members, the local association of YWCA Lincoln. We're one of about 200 members of associations literally around the world.
Mhm.
And so, with that, we had to get information that was coming out so quickly that we barely had time to adjust and react. And because it was rooted in this notion of if you don't do these eliminations of DEI, you won't receive federal funding. Well, for a lot of our YWCAs, their primary work is either domestic violence or it's child care,
Mhm.
it's Head Start. So if you start pulling federal dollars just because our mission says the elimination of racism, then you're going to create a whole bigger need around child care and families that don't have access to child care. And we know the cost of child care in Nebraska is one of the highest in this nation.
Mhm.
So we have so much concern around this issue, especially in Nebraska. We have the data that 1 year of child care in Nebraska is more than a year tuition for UNL.
Yeah.
Where is the justice in all of that? And when we see the effect of all of that, those families that are mostly impacted are those that they're on the lower rung of the socioeconomic status. They're single parent families. There are those that already have a whole bevy of needs
Mhm.
anyway. So just saying the elimination of DEI, it has a much deeper and a more broader impact than
Mhm.
what most people know. They only know the surface of
Yeah.
what's being said.
Really. And we're seeing it impact people again across all different sectors. So we're talking about
Yes.
education, different universities are being impacted, their funding,
Yes.
the right to learn and to access, knowledge and to gain knowledge is just that's being attacked on what you
Yes.
can and cannot have access to. Um, so it's not just who you thought it was when you thought of the word DEI. It has impacted so many people
Right.
in this country, canceling funding to certain organizations and institutions if they have diversity, equity, or inclusion as part of their policy.
Yes.
And it has created, like you said, in certain communities, kind of chaos, right? Especially
Right.
communities that were already struggling to keep up. And now with these different policies coming into play, like you said, it only creates more need. And so now you have these organizations that were already struggling to keep up with the needs and to match
That's true.
the community that
Yeah.
now has to figure out, um, how do we support all these extra people that are coming in who now need support,
Right.
because it
Yeah.
has, impacted them in their life and what they have access to. And so it's just, as we talked about, misinformation in
Right.
where um, in vetting your resources is
Yes.
really, really important when we're talking about information and resources, because a lot of people have misinformation around diversity, equity, and inclusion. A lot of people thought that that was the whole kind of crutch of the new administration, and
Yes.
they agree with it. Hey, they're just going to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then you see how
Hmm.
they have infiltrated a lot of different other departments and a lot of
Yes.
different other policies that you didn't think they were going
Right.
to
Yeah,
do.
those tentacles have
Yeah,
spread.
they spread. It wasn't just about diversity, equity,
Exactly.
inclusion. We see it being spread throughout, again, many different sectors of institutions, and it's
Right.
impacting so many
Right.
people. It's impacting everybody. It really is. There is no one. What some of these policies that are being put in place, no one is coming out unscathed. Because as I
Yes.
said, it's impacting
Exactly.
education,
Hmm.
and so um, as we talk about misinformation and you're out there with the other executive directors and CEOs of
Yes.
local associations, I know we kind of talked about before uh, that there was a lot of misinformation, and so they had to, have different sessions about what is accurate, what is true, and what is
Yes.
false. Can you share with us some of that?
Yes, and it's interesting because before I delve into what has transpired here and some information that we have been discussing, I've had some of these meetings and conversations there in Lincoln with some of our other nonprofits. So it really is causing all of us to take pause and try to get more information, try to gain, a more broader understanding about what we're being faced with and how it does not only impact our funding, as you talked about all of the funding, but about how we communicate to the public of how we will continue to work and how we will continue to move forward. So it's been a great opportunity in really digging into. Most of us before this administration never really probably thought about executive orders.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we are involved in some grants that filter down through the federal pipeline, we've had to understand what the executive orders are as they pertain to funding and how funding funnels into the state, into the county, and then we are able to apply for those funds throughout the different communities. So it really impacts us in where we have to read what the executive orders are really saying, because when we put those proposals in, we have to make sure that the language that we're using is language that is seamless, and I don't want to say the word unfortunately, but seamless, so that it does not cause concern and it eliminates us from being a qualified applicant for those different pools of fund. So it's been great in getting some understanding around all of that piece. How do we continue to express who we are as a local association, the way that we structure our programs, the way that we have our audience, who our audience is, why we're working with that particular audience, why that matters. And so a lot of what's been uh, pushed forward this week, which is really good, is having the data and having the right data that shows the need around our community, and making sure that that's part of what we put into our proposals and in our application. The executive orders, for example, the one that was being debated this week, I believe is about 54, 57 pages. So it's a lot of information, a whole lot of legal information. So sometimes it's very hard to be understood and see how it fits and how it applies to us particularly. But that's something that we will continue to do. I'm glad we are part of such a large association that as soon as it was revealed that this is something that could really impact us as we continue to serve our clients, that we needed to gain a better understanding. So our corporate office, our national head, has shared with us a lot of information so that we stay abreast of what's happening at the federal level, and then we can continue to make sure we're mission forward. That's who we've always been, and that's who we will continue to be. So I am so glad that we have assistance from those out of the legal field that is filling us in to understand the legalities and the language. We've had great reminders about our Constitution and our bylaws that, we can't just change that. We should not change that just because we're starting to get questions around, well, do you change your mission? Or are you going to scrub your website and all those kinds of things?
And we know that that's not something that we're going to do. But we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about the legalities and the stance of YWCA Lincoln.
Spring has arrived, the temperatures are rising, and it's time to get your equipment ready for the season. Landmark Implement has high-quality used John Deere planters, sprayers, and tractors, priced to move and ready to work for you. Take advantage of unbeatable deals and flexible financing to upgrade your operation without stretching your budget. Stop by your local Landmark Implement or browse our full inventory online at landmarkimp.com. Before these deals are done, experience the Landmark difference.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part. We offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
Muchachos has been serving Lincoln delicious pork, brisket, and chicken tacos for several years now, as well as Hatch Mac, nachos, and more. Muchachos also brings you close to the taste buds of your favorite local college athletes with NIL deals like the B3 burrito for Bella Bacon of Nebraska softball and many more. See a variety of different NIL options at Muchachos at 11th and K, or order online at yomuchacho.com. Open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready-mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's nebcoinc.com.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. Spring is here, summer is fast approaching. With weddings, vacations, and weekend getaways on your mind, do not let car issues prevent you from getting where you need to be. Car problems shouldn't be something that you put up with. Let us get you back on the road in comfort and safety. We diagnose all makes and models from Porsches to Hondas, Toyotas, and Chevrolets. We fix a variety of issues with all of them with our talented techs and our experienced staff. A1 Automotive at 11th and L, downtown Lincoln, always honest answers.
All right, we're back here with the W. As you all know, Karen is not in the studio today. She's actually in Arizona at the National YWCA Leadership Conference. And so we are so excited to have her still tune in with us this week.
Yes.
She is providing a lot and sharing a lot of information that she is receiving from our national office and then from other local associations in regards to the climate and the environment we're in,
Yes.
where our mission right now is it's not seen as something that is needed, which is the elimination of racism and the empowerment of women, in turns, really the diversity, equity, and inclusion
Right.
part of our organization. And so we're just talking a little bit more about communication, misinformation, and then how do we wade through misinformation so that we can accurately assess the data, do some research, and continue to provide much needed resources to our community members here locally and, of course, around the world. As I said, she's there with other executive directors and CEOs from other associations and cities. So, Karen, before we left off, you were talking about the legality of our mission and our organization and how we legally have a right to have this mission
Right.
in regards to the elimination of racism and the empowerment of women, and that we are protected by law to continue to have this as our mission.
Yes, very true. And just like any other organization, association that has a constitution and bylaws, just like the United States of America has a constitution and bylaws, all the members have to abide by that. And so there cannot be changes that are made by any one member or any one group out of the total body without going through the due process. And that means parliamentary procedure. And so we actually have a parliamentarian that helps to guide us. We have a Y board, the International YWCA board, that where something is proposed, it has to go through all the iterations of recommendations, making a motion, and then there has to be a full vote. So therefore, as this organization that is sanctioned through the Constitution and bylaws and recognized respectively through each of our home states, our respective states, because we are actually recognized as a 501c3 for us in Nebraska through the state of Nebraska, then any changes that are made has to go through the due process and the parliamentary procedure. So therefore, we're not scrubbing our website that shows the impact of who we are, the work that we do around social justice, the programs and services that we provide to our residents in Lincoln, Nebraska, because one, we are sanctioned through our Constitution. And two, it would take a full vote of the body to make any of those changes. And so we know we, just like a lot of other nonprofits, have been getting many questions about that same kind of thing that talk about promoting equity, that talk about serving certain members of the audience and those kinds of things. We will continue to push our mission just like we are going forward. We will also, as a local association, we will continue to identify with our lawmakers and especially our local lawmakers and helping them to understand who we are, because we know they're getting a lot of misinformation as well. So again, as a YWCA, as this international, because we're part of World YWCA. Yesterday, ironically, was World YWCA Day. We will continue for now in the mission forward as we continue to work with our respective communities.
Yeah, you know, it always amazes me, and I have to sit back and really kind of reflect on this thought and have a conversation with myself about some organizations, quickness to turn away
To
from
capitulate, yes.
yes, to quickly change their policies
Yes.
and bylaws. And I do understand at this point, money is tied into it, right?
Right.
Federal dollars. And again, it happens so, I think for me, the fact that it happens so quickly with some of these organizations, it just calls into question the actual commitment and dedication.
On the
to
front
the
end.
mission. Yeah, it really does. Because it changed so quickly and so fast. Just keep in mind that these policies have been coming out for the last maybe 2 months, 3
Right.
months, and how many organizations have adopted and changed and institutions to really comply with this very harmful narrative that we see coming out of certain policies and certain um, uh, information being disseminated from this administration, right, through
Yes.
executive orders. And we know that they're harmful, right, and we know that they are causing a lot of American citizens to lose resources and support, and it's really impacting their livelihood and their health. And we know this, and to
Right.
still comply, it's just interesting to me because in the fight for justice, right, and this fight for justice, why did you think it would be easy? And in this modern
Right.
day and age, when we think about where you can make the most impact with somebody, we say it now, right? When Target uh, uh, um, got rid of their diversity equity, they cut their diversity equity and inclusion programs, and
Right.
they went back on their promise for certain initiatives that they wanted to start in that community. What do we say? Oh, well, get them in the pockets, right?
Right.
That's going to make them, well, it sounds like we're not the only ones saying get them in the pockets, right?
Right.
And so I do understand why people, but in a fight for justice and in this, modern world and society, what did you think the tool they were going to use?
Exactly.
In regards to funding and money, what did you think they
Yes.
were going to do? And, the fact that that some people are turning over so quickly again, it takes into account the cause and the dedication. But I had to think about it.
Mhm.
We do trainings, and the
You're
good
right.
thing about our trainings is that it's a conversation and it's a discussion. It's a place where we can have these courageous conversations and to
Right.
discuss some things. And, I was thinking about that again, about the quickness of how different institutions have turned away from their promise and their commitment, quote
Right.
unquote, their promise
Mhm.
and their commitment for, equity.
Right.
And I think about who's leading these institutions, right? And these different organizations that have turned away. And I really think yesterday we were talking about being a racial ambassador
Hmm.
and how, a lot of people of color, they don't want to be the racial ambassador. And if you don't know what I mean by racial
Right.
ambassador, it's where you walk into a space and
Yes.
everybody will judge their interaction that they have with you, and they will kind of make that the standard for everybody in your community.
Mhm.
So you're no longer an individual. You represent your community. So how you
Right.
interact with them is representative of how your community generally acts. Now,
Mhm.
we know that's not true, right?
Right.
We do know that, like white people, they get to just step into their individuality. So if they
Yes.
have an engagement with someone and it's not positive and it's negative, that's an individual thing. It's
Right.
just that person. But if you
Mhm.
have a negative interaction with me, now it's, oh, that's how Black women act.
Right.
Or that's how I become the racial ambassador. So I have to make sure that I am constantly monitoring myself, so
Mhm.
that you won't have this perception of
Right.
all people of color or all Black women just based on me, right? And
Right.
so we were talking about that, and we were talking about,
Mm.
that type of community and how
Mhm.
we built that community, how it has negative and positive, right? Because the
Yes.
negative part of it is now I have this burden on my shoulder to make sure that every time I walk into, because I have my
Right.
community on my shoulder, right? The positive is that we have always understood that when we move forward, that we're bringing our community forward, right?
Right.
That's why it's always a big celebration when someone of our
Mhm.
community does something, right? We all
Right.
feel we're all celebrating, right? Because we know as a
We
community
win.
we win, right? And we know that, right?
Exactly.
But that's because as a
Yes.
community, we have been oppressed, right? And so when
Uh-huh.
one of us win, we win. And we know that because if you made it through the door, you have now opened it. So I can possibly, make it through the door.
Yes.
And when I see that we have a lot of these organizations and institutions that are so quick to change their motto and to
Right.
kind of eliminate and cut in regards to their promises and their commitment, it just makes me think of that because they've never had that
That burden.
responsibility.
Yes.
They've never had the responsibility
Yes.
and the social commitment to their community.
Mhm. Right.
It's always been individual.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so they don't now we're saying, okay, you have this privilege, right? We know
Yeah.
you have this privilege. You have this power and this authority. And now we're looking at them and saying you have a social commitment. And they've
Yes.
never had that before. It is up to you to make
Right.
sure that society,
Mhm.
this community, you're a part of this community now, and that they are also being brought up with you. They haven't had that connection. And
Right.
I think
Can
that
I
might be
add?
why I
Yeah.
was trying to figure it out. Like, I need to see the
No.
other side of it because I'm not
Exactly,
getting why
Maisha.
we thought this was going to be so easy that
Right.
as soon as they're like, oh, we're going to count dollars, that's why, I like the Harvard,
Mhm.
right, who said that we're going to
Right.
fight.
We're gonna
Even
fight.
if we're going to fight, at least put up a fight, at least try, right? And
Yes.
and so for some of the businesses and organizations and institutions that didn't even try, it's because
Mhm.
you've never had that responsibility that we have.
Mhm.
That this is a
Mhm.
community thing. This is a social
Mhm.
thing. Like we have to,
Yeah.
And I
It
know
was
it's
a
been
wake up
burden at
moment
times.
for them.
Yeah,
Very much.
wake up moment, but no, it was a
But
moment
did
that
they
tested them.
even fully
Yeah,
come awake?
they didn't. I
Because
don't think it was a
they
wake up
just
moment.
went
Yeah,
right back to,
what
okay,
they
I can't do that.
I
It's
can't
too
do that.
much. It's
Yeah,
too heavy. It's too burdensome.
yeah.
I was in a meeting yesterday, and we were talking about a lot of around the communication and the miscommunication and all those kinds of things. And I shared about how we as YWCA Lincoln, with all of our different facilitation around DEI, we get a lot of questions about, well, what happens when people feel uncomfortable? And we said, that's part of it. That's part of the experience. That's part of the process. Because if you're not uncomfortable, then you won't get to the comfortable. You won't get to the understanding. And so I was sharing that, I've been uncomfortable and I've had to carry this burden, just like what you were saying, that whole social responsibility of being the one that represents my community. And I said, I've been tired because in my mind, I've had to do this over 60 plus years. And later, a colleague approached me afterwards and she said, that was so profound, because I actually said 64.9 years. And she said, that was so profound when you said that. She said, because I think I'm starting to grasp what that is. Because now in my work and what we're trying to do at our YWCA, it's impacting us in this way. I said, so yeah, just imagine that there's been a part of our community where we've had to bear that for hundreds of years. And we're tired of having to do that. We're going to fight it, but we're tired of having to do that.
Yeah. And when you talk about uncomfortable and people being like, well, because, we recently had this conversation, right?
Right.
Very, very recently. And,
we sure did.
It was brought up, well,
yes.
If there's any topics that might be, uncomfortable or make someone, and, and we're like, hey, we don't know that going in. We don't know what's going to connect with someone on a personal level. We don't know who's going to put a wall quickly before they're able to dismantle it, because you can go into defense mode, right? When you're working on yourself and how you think and why you think, because you just want to be a good person. And so, naturally you can go into defense mode.
Yes.
If you're not, in that space. And that's what we do in training. We try to get people to that space where we're not in defense mode. We're just talking and having this conversation and reflecting on it. And why we think the way that we do in the cycle of socialization, and like, how did this happen? This process, and are we going to continue it? Now that you know, are you going to continue this, right? We had that conversation of uncomfortableness, and it always comes to me because it's like, why is the uncomfortableness of a conversation for certain people outweigh the uncomfortableness of a community that has to live in it? You're just talking about an uncomfortable conversation. I'm talking about an uncomfortable life.
I'm talking about 64 years
of an uncomfortable life. And
exactly.
What I need to put the most energy into is if this conversation for you is going to be uncomfortable. Why is that more important than my uncomfortable life? Like, we got to get through that. Because my life is uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
And your comfortableness with this conversation should not weigh more than what these policies and practices, how they are impacting my life and my livelihood, and my health. And, but we have to figure out, well, how do we make the conversation a little bit more easier, but, instead of figuring out how do we make life a little bit more easier,
exactly.
Here and figure out how to make this a little bit more easier so they can swallow it a little better. So maybe, hopefully when they're done with this conversation, they want to take action. And, again, I get that, this is the society that we live in, and that, people, again, modern people here, people in this day and age, because they've never had, again, that social connection and responsibility, they don't want to take responsibility for what has happened prior to them. There isn't that it seems like that connection. But, in our communities, it really is. Like, we're connected. Right. And again, whether it's for the good or the bad, the tax that we talk about, that we pay when we enter a room, a quote unquote social ambassador, and how that can be burdensome. But we also know that a lot of times we're the only person in that room.
That's right.
So that looks like us.
Right.
And so, or identify as we identify. And so we know that because we're in the room and because we have this connection to our community socially, that
Right.
we want to make sure we won't be the only person in this room.
Right.
And that maybe the next person who comes into this room will have a better experience than what we had, right?
Right.
Or there'll be more people like them when they look around, or who
Yes.
identify as them. So we know that. We know that when we open a door is so that other people can come through it. You know, we don't have the option to just walk through a door. Like that's
Right.
not, and just be, and that's it. We just opened and closed it. We know that we're trying to permanently open the door because it shouldn't have been closed in the first place, right? We should have been allowed in these
True.
spaces and all
Mhm.
of that. And so, you know, like I said, I really do think it is what they're being faced with now is that connection and that commitment that they've never had to make before in their life. They never had to worry about, well, is this good for all the white people?
Right.
You know, no, it's like, are we opening the door for all of them to come in? You've always been there.
Right.
So you haven't had to open the door to go anywhere. You've always been invited in there.
We
And
call
so-
that privilege.
We call that privilege. That's just, you were born into that, right? Because of
Right.
the society we are in the United States, in the world, you were born into that privilege. And
Mhm.
so you were just always there. You didn't have to worry about your fellow other white person coming through this door. And so now that you have this social commitment, now you don't know what to do with it. You've never been faced with it.
That's right.
And so you see people turning
But
around.
we can help you work through it.
We really could. I mean, if you're
With
really
that,
dedicated to
yes.
it, and I do think a lot of people are. They just don't know how to work through these times.
Right. And that's
Injustice
okay.
being
That's why you
directly
have, yes, you have organizations like ours that
Mhm.
help you work through that, help you gain that understanding,
Yeah.
and help you understand the stories.
Help you understand the stories, get you to the correct information,
That's
provide
right.
you with the correct resources so that you can
Mhm.
make an informed decision about your life and how you're going to live your life in regards to how you connect and engage with others. When we come back, we'll go ahead and wrap up the show for this hour and talking about communication and what you can do to ensure that you're staying abreast in regards to accurate information.
Hey Husker Nation, this is Todd Euler, two-time national champion, here to talk to you about Window World Lincoln. At Window World, we specialize in replacement windows, doors, siding, and roofing. Whether you're looking to enhance the beauty of your home or increase its energy efficiency, we've got you covered. And here's the best part, we offer the best for less. Our team is dedicated to providing top quality products and exceptional service at affordable prices. We want to earn your business and make your home improvement dreams a reality. So why wait? Contact Window World Lincoln today at 464-7313 or visit our website at windowworldlincoln.com. Window World Lincoln, where quality meets affordability.
Life changes, and sometimes that means changing where you call home. Whether you're downsizing, growing your family, relocating, or facing tough times, you shouldn't navigate it alone. I'm Laura Bonta-Bush with Woods Rose Realty, and I'm here to guide you with all your real estate needs. As wife of football coach Bill Bush, I understand the importance of teamwork and making sure you are supported every step of the way with honesty, integrity, and compassion. If you're looking for a game plan to buy or sell your home, text the word HOME to 402-534-1919. That's HOME to 402-534-1919.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
Psst. You know what's better than waking up early to go to the airport? Sleeping in. Lucky for you, the lines at the Lincoln Airport are so short and our service is so fast. You won't need to sacrifice precious beauty sleep to get here hours before your flight. So, go ahead, sleep in. You deserve it, and choose the airport that helps you relax. LNK, make flying easy.
You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
NEBCO is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready-mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's nebcoinc.com.
Fleet Feet Lincoln is excited for the upcoming spring season and the warmer temps, and they want you to get outside and be active. Fleet Feet's Fit ID process takes a free 3D image of your feet to help runners and walkers alike find comfortable tennis shoes and inserts that ease pain associated with plantar fasciitis, bunions, and more. Get back on your feet this spring with a trip to Fleet Feet, open 7 days a week at 77th and Pioneers. Give your furnace a break with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Heartland of Nebraska Windows offers a free estimate, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty of everything, while still keeping their prices affordable. Sounds too good to be true, right? Heartland of Nebraska Windows is locally and family owned with their own team of installers. Give the window experts at Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today at 402-430-3852 or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Elevate your home or business with the help of Heartland of Nebraska Windows today.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
All right, so we are back here with our final segment. Before we left off, we were just talking about, the commitment to this fight for equality and justice, and, why we believe that, certain communities are turning away or trying to revamp in regards to how they're providing services, or maybe how they will stay committed, and for the communities that their commitment was supposed to impact, how we really don't see that the same way that they see it, right? And us really trying to understand the why, or me personally, my personal is to understand, the why behind it. And we left off by saying that just, it's the social connection and commitment that we've had as a community, and maybe they haven't had that connection before because they didn't need to. It wasn't about
they didn't have to. Yeah.
They didn't have to, right? They didn't need to, they didn't have to. It wasn't about advancing their community because they were oppressed. And so they haven't felt that connection before. And when it's being tested as it is being now, they don't know how to withstand the test.
Right.
They haven't had that responsibility before. And I know you had told me, Karen, in regards to like information and executive orders, that you found a quote that you wanted to share and really like.
Yes, actually, it's a tweet, and it's from it was, but it's her quote. It was Hillary Clinton posted, "Executive orders are not decrees, because we are not a monarch and we do not have a king." If we keep that kind of thinking in mind, that will help us to understand what's happening with these executive orders, and helping us to make sure we look at the source of the information. how it's coming out, and making sure that we do our research behind it so we don't start to react in a way that it causes us to hold ourselves back, and or as it relates to organizations, that we are not continuing to push our mission forward and meet the needs of our individual communities. And so back to that tweet, I found that so profound that just says it all right there. That those are some orders that are coming out from the administration, and they really have not been properly vetted, is what I will say, in understanding the legal impact and how that really works out. We don't have a monarchy in the United States. And so as we are all individuals here in this great nation, we all have our voice, we all have our vote, and we should all have an understanding of what that means for us individually. And as an organization that really works toward equity and equality, freedom, justice, peace for all, we're going to continue to move forward.
We are for the people, by the people. Right?
Yes.
Yes. And speaking of voice, and we have an election coming up here in Lincoln, May 6th, Tuesday, and YWCA had a chance to partner with the Women League of Voters, Channel 10 and 11, other partners such as Nebraska, the NAACP, Lincoln Branch, Civic Nebraska, to provide this space for our board, our school board candidates,
and city council
on Tuesday, the school board candidates on this past Wednesday, to have a conversation a little bit about, where they see the state of the city and our school district, what they believe should happen and who they are. When we talk about communication and your resources, this was one way that we as the YWCA wanted to provide a platform for you to receive accurate communication directly from the candidate themselves, in a space for you to ask questions. And we want you to look for those types of opportunities when you're doing your research to get accurate information. If you can meet your candidates that are running for different positions within your city, please do so. If you can go to these forums, please do so. They're held all the time around elections. And we want more people to attend because we want you to have an accurate, I want you to have accurate information. So when you go into the booth and vote, you feel confident about your vote, and you feel confident about the candidate that you are supporting. So May 6th, please, please, please get out to vote. We tell you this all the time. Who you vote for locally will have a huge, huge impact on your life, especially because this current administration, what are they saying? We're trying to give control back to the states. It's going to give control back. You really need to be voting and looking at who's representing your state and who's representing your city, and so in your county. So with that being said, again, we want to encourage you to get out to vote for May 6th. If you're not registered to vote, please look that up and see when's the last day to register. If you want to mail in your ballot, please look that up. Please look up appropriate identification to have for you to vote here in the state of Nebraska. Just make a plan. And we do that. We
get a voter guide. Pick up a voter guide. You can Google that, pick up a voter guide that will help you to understand what's actually on the ballot, especially around those initiatives. Be an informed voter.
All right. We want to thank you so much for listening to The W, and we'll see you next time.
All righty.